Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. If you've been following along, you saw me make this cream cheese. And I've got about a kilo of cream cheese here. And I thought to myself, I've got this homemade cream cheese, what am I going to do with it? Let's do something special. So I looked around, and I didn't want to make just a regular cheesecake. But a recipe that I've seen everywhere is for something called, depending on who you are, they've called it Basque Cheesecake, Vina Cheesecake, San Sebastian Cheesecake, Burnt Cheesecake, Burnished Cheesecake, trying to elevate it a little bit. And I thought, let's make that. So I looked at all the recipes for it, and I did a little bit of digging, and I came across the fact that this is from La Vina restaurant in San Sebastian, Spain. And all of the recipes online are people saying, oh, I went there, and so this is the recipe that I developed. This is the recipe that I developed to try to replicate what was going on. And I realized the chef from La Vina restaurant in San Sebastian freely gave out the recipe to anyone who asked. So if the chef gave out the recipe and encouraged people to make it at home, why reinvent the wheel? Why not just go ahead and make his recipe? So I found his recipe online. I also found a video of him making the recipe, which I thought was very interesting because even though I don't speak Spanish, I was able to pick out some little tricks and tips. He was making it with a spoon. And I have to imagine that he rolled up to the television studio and they didn't have the mixers that he wanted. His restaurant makes dozens of these cakes every day. So I'm positive they're using a giant industrial mixer in the back, probably a Hobart, in order to get the consistency. But if you only have a hand beater, you only have a whisk, even a food processor would do the trick really, really well. So in this stand mixer, I have a kilo of cream cheese and some sugar, and I just want to mix it until it's nice and smooth. Okay, next in are 7 eggs. And the key to putting these eggs in is to do them one at a time. If you put them in all at once, the mixture becomes clumpy and the egg doesn't incorporate, and then you get little clumps of cheese. Put 1 egg in, the first one mixes in really quickly, and then just move on to the second one. And so on and so on. Okay, all of the eggs are in. They're mixed in really well. I've got a nice, smooth, homogenous mixture, and I scraped down the bowl several times just to make sure that I've got everything all together. Next in is some salt, and the salt content will vary depending on the salt content of your cream cheese. One of the things that the chef mentions in the video is that the cream cheese he's using in Spain is from a local dairy, and it's a little bit different than the cream cheese you're going to buy in the supermarket. And I don't know how that will affect the cheesecake, but I do know that it will make the cheesecake at home a little bit different than what he makes in the restaurant. The next thing that goes in is flour. So in it goes. While that mixes in, I need about 200 milliliters of heavy cream, whipping cream. This is 35% cream. Okay, I think the flour's all mixed in, so I'm going to turn the mixer down so I don't slop the cream everywhere. The oven is preheated. It's a screaming hot 500 degrees Fahrenheit. The whole idea with this cheesecake is that you cook it hot and fast. The outside gets nice and dark and brown. Some people would call it burnt. Some people call it burnished. Yet the interior of the cheesecake is supposed to be creamy and soft like a pudding. I'm really looking forward to this texture. So I'm going to let this continue to mix while we get the springform pan ready. And the idea with the springform pan is that you line it with baking paper. So I've got 2 sheets of baking paper. I've got one in one direction, and I'm going to put this one in the other direction. And you should crumple it first. That softens it up and makes it easier to get into the pan all the way into the bottom. So turn this one opposite direction and just fit it in. Okay, that looks good. And I think our mixture is just about right. Really nice and smooth, thick, homogenous. I think this is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this. So let's get it into the pan without making too much of a mess. Okay. Looking good. So, this goes into the oven 18 to 20 minutes. Here we go. Look at that. So, a little bit burnt on top, the way it's supposed to be, and it's supposed to be jiggly, like it's not cooked inside, and so it's definitely jiggly like it's not cooked inside. At this point, it's everything that cheesecake isn't supposed to be. It's not supposed to be burnt on top. It's supposed to be a little bit denser than this. This is going to collapse. It's probably going to crack. I'm supposed to leave it out on the counter until it comes to room temperature and then stick it in the fridge for 5 or 6 hours before we taste it. So come on back, let's see what happens.
It's time! It's time, it's time. The cooling has finished.
So it's finished cooling. It has deflated. It looks ooey and gooey all the way around.
Got that great brownness on top.
Oh, it is soft and custardy inside. It seems like it's everything it's supposed to be. Now I've seen people try to get this out, and it can be...
Yeah, because it's not as solid as cake.
No. Look at that. Okay.
That's pretty soft. Surprisingly soft.
It's supposed to be gooey inside. Yeah.
Oh, that it is.
Okay.
I'm totally in.
Give it a try.
It has a wonderful texture to it. It has a great mouthfeel and a super tang.
So the tang is, I think, from our
cream cheese was
Our
pretty,
cream
our
cheese.
cream cheese was pretty tangy.
was pretty tangy. The when you get that top, you know that toasted marshmallow flavor? That's what I got from the top. It was just fantastic. Okay. Everything that you think a cheesecake is, I'm going to say this is not.
No, it is not any of the typical ways. That's why I was surprised
Yeah.
when it was gooey, because I'm so used to it being the very thick, eight.
Kind of dense.
Yeah.
And, with that cookie base.
Although we have made some without bases before
Yes.
that were really good, but they were still very solid and compact.
Heavy.
This is very light.
Yes. This would be, so this would be fantastic with lemon, because lemon makes this type of dessert.
Lemon makes a lot of stuff
Yeah.
really good.
It would give a brightness to the flavor.
You could probably put a lot of different flavor, like light bits of flavor. Like you
think
could
so.
probably put a little bit of coffee in it,
Yes.
or a little bit of.
Nothing too much. Nothing too...
No. This is just a light flavoring,
Yeah.
a hint.
A soupçon.
Versus, when you put stuff on top, like
Yeah.
cherries on top or fruit on top,
Yep.
you wouldn't do that with this. You would just kind of embed it
Yeah.
in the mixture in a very light way.
So everything that you expect a cheesecake to be, this is not going to be it at all.
But it's still going to be good.
Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So, I don't think you have to make your own cream cheese to make this.
No.
If what you have is Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is probably the one that most people are going to have, it'll probably be just fine. So, I would definitely give this one a try.
Enjoy.
Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.